everybody, welcome back. This video I wanted to talk about two very extremely common things when working with PHP. Like, seriously, this is like the best part about PHP. Like, for real. Like, I'm not even kidding. Alright. Alright, include and require. These are both functions and they are like legit. Like, I'm not even kidding. Alright, so what these allow you to do is include another file within your file. So let me draw you a little picture to make this very crystal clear. Alright, let's say you have a file here. I'm just gonna draw it weird shaped. And then you have a web page, right? And then you have another web page, right? And then you have a third file here. Well, technically 4 files. Alright, what you can do is basically include another file within another file. So it's pretty much like you're taking that code and putting it within the file you're including in its code. So let me give you an example. Most common use for this is with headers and footers. So when you go to a website, very common, they'll either have a sidebar or a top bar that you can hover over and they'll have options, and if you click it, it'll go to a new page and it's still there at the top with the same picture or whatever. Well, if you did not have this, you would have to take that code, copy it, and paste it on every single page within your website. But with these functions, you can take that one single page and you can put it on any web page you like. So let's say this is header. Well, now header is being included within these web pages. We could also have the file footer, and they can also include within these web pages. So now we have what looks to the user like one web page, but within the code, it's actually taking the code from this page and from this page and putting them together to create one page. Now, another thing that's great about this is if you decide to go through some design changes, for example, or add a new feature to your bar at the top, whatever you want to call it, well, you can change this. Let's just say you change it, the color of something. Well, now it's going to update on every single page within the website. So now you don't have to go and change every single website. So oftentimes, things that are consistent throughout your entire web page, they are going to be included within your content. So you could say that's the content. The content oftentimes includes stuff that can change or is consistent, because if you have two things exactly the same on two web pages, it's kind of redundant to have to code it twice when you could just point them both to another file. So yeah, these are like super awesome. So the first one, include. What goes in here is what file to include, which we'll be talking about putting file paths in the next video. Now I'm just going to be explaining how they work. Well, include is going to try to grab the file you want to include, but if it can't, it's just going to display an error and then go on with the rest of the page. The other one, require. This, if it works, it's going to do the same exact thing. It's going to take the file you're including or requiring, put it within the code, and then put the rest of the content, the web content, within it, within that page. Now, the only difference is when require doesn't work, it will put an error and it will not display the rest of the page. So if we have a web page with include, and let's say this top bar is included, and then the rest is down here. Well, if it fails, we're just going to get an error here, but the rest of this content is still going to be here. If we have a require, all we're going to get is the error, and we're not going to get any content. That's if it doesn't work. If they both work, well then we're good. They're both going to have content within the website. Now, both of these have another function that's similar to it, which looks like this. What both of these do is they only include the file once. Well, you're probably like, oh, why would it include it more than once? Well, in some cases, your website may try to grab the file more than one time. And if this is the case, I mean, you'd have to see a specific situation when that happens. But this is basically just going to only allow it to be grabbed once within your specific page. So this one page can only try to include it one time, and if it does it any more than that, it's not going to work. We can also require once, which you know the difference between these. So the include once, if it doesn't get the file, it's still going to display the content. The require once, it's not going to display the website content. So now all you have to think about is what situation to use what. If you absolutely need the required file, or the included file, then you want to use the require function or the require once function. But if it's something simple such as, like, okay, let's say your footer doesn't have much information on it, and if for some reason it fails to include it, which is probably a problem and you should probably fix that, well then you can use include. It just kind of depends on the situation, and you may need to look up what's appropriate for that situation. And then there's this group or this group. Do I use include once or require once, or include or require? Well, the once takes more memory, so you will want to use that only if having it on there more than once is going to cause a problem. So if including it twice would be extremely bad, then use these two. So most of the time use these two, but I can't tell you the appropriate one to use in every situation because it just depends. If you absolutely need the file and you cannot have it more than once, this one. If you absolutely need the file, but if it's on there more than once, it's no big deal, this one. If you don't absolutely need the file, but you can only have it once if it does work, this one. And if you don't absolutely need the file and if it's on there a million times, it doesn't really matter, this one. So, yeah, I know that's a pretty rough explanation. You just have to see some examples, and we'll see that as we go on in this series. So, thank you for watching. And as for what goes within these parentheses, that will be in the next video, where we will be talking about relative and absolute paths, which just points back to another file. So this is going to point to a file, which will then be included within the website. So, that's all I have to say in this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah! What's up? Oh yeah! Woo! Uh-huh, uh-huh. What?